Welcome all. This is the part 4 of Java interview questions video. Let's continue. What do you understand by copy constructor in Java? Like C++, Java also supports copy constructor. But, unlike C++, Java doesn't create a default copy constructor if you don't write your own. Following is an example Java program that shows a simple use of copy constructor. Here you can see, we have created class named complex in which we have defined two constructors. First one is with one argument, and second one is copy constructor which takes object of class as argument. When you create an object of class by passing argument, it will call the first constructor and will set the value of variable. Now, create the object and pass the first object which we had created. It will copy all the content from that object to current object. This is all about the copy constructor in Java. Can we make constructors static? No, we cannot define a static constructor in Java. If we are trying to define a constructor with the static keyword, a compile time error will occur. In general, static means class level. A constructor will be used to assign initial values for the instance variables. Both static and constructor are different and opposite to each other. We need to assign initial values for an instance variable, we can use a constructor. We need to assign static variables, we can use static blocks. Let's see below example. We tried making the constructor static, but you can see we have got the error, as modifier static not allowed here. So we cannot make constructor static. Can we make the abstract method static in Java? Commonly, a method which does not have body is known as abstract method. It contains only method signature with a semicolon and an abstract keyword before it. To use an abstract method, you need to inherit it by extending its class and provide implementation to it. Now let's see if we can declaring abstract method static. If you declare a method in a class abstract to use it, you must override this method in the subclass. But, overriding is not possible with static methods. Therefore, an abstract method cannot be static. If you still try to declare an abstract method static, a compile time error is generated saying illegal combination of modifiers abstract and static. You can see in the below example. Can we declare the static variables and methods in an abstract class? If a method is declared as static, it is a member of a class rather than belonging to the object of the class. It can be called without creating an object of the class. A static method also has the power to access static data members of the class. A static variable is a class variable. A single copy of the static variable is created for all instances of the class. It can be directly accessed in a static method. Let's see below example. Here we trying to call the display method with object, but it will say here static method should be accessed in static way, that is directly. Which class is superclass of all classes in Java? Java.lang.object class is the root or superclass of the class hierarchy, which is present in Java.lang package. All predefined classes and user-defined classes are the subclasses from object class. Why object class is a superclass? Reusability. Every object has 11 common properties. These properties must be implemented by every Java developer. To reduce the burden on the developer, Sun developed a class called Object by implementing all these 11 properties with 11 methods. All these methods have generic logic common for all the subclasses. If this logic is not satisfying subclass requirement, then subclass can override it. Runtime polymorphism. to achieve runtime polymorphism so that we can write a single method to receive and send any type of class object as an argument and as return type. Let's see first method, comparing two objects equality. You can see in the below example. We have written equal method to compare the string variable to check the equality of objects. We have created two objects, in which we have defined different names, so when we call the equals method it will return false. Retrieving hash code. In the example, you can see we have written hash code method to get the hash code of every object. Retrieving the runtime class object reference. You can see we have printed the runtime class by using getClass method. Retrieving object information in string format. You can see in the example, we have written toString method to print object information in string format. Cloning the object. Here we have written clone method to make the copy of object. You can see we are calling the clone method to make clone of T1 object and to store it in T2 object. We have some more methods. We finalize method to clean up the code. Below methods are related to threads. Let's check out. To wait for current thread until another thread invokes the notify, for this we have wait method. We can also specify amount of time, and for that wait methods takes argument. Also, we have notify and notify all methods to notify other threads about the object locks. We will be uploading the detailed video on threading. Please watch that video for better understanding. What is exception and types of exception in Java? An exception, or exceptional event, is a problem that arises during the execution of a program. When an exception occurs, the normal flow of the program is disrupted and the program/application terminates abnormally, which is not recommended. Therefore, these exceptions are to be handled. An exception can occur for many different reasons. Following are some scenarios where an exception occurs. A user has entered an invalid data. A file that needs to be opened cannot be found. A network connection has been lost in the middle of communications, or the JVM has run out of memory. Some of these exceptions are caused by user error, others by programmer error, and others by physical resources that have failed in some manner. Based on these, we have two types of exceptions. First one is checked exceptions. A checked exception is an exception that is checked, notified, by the compiler at compilation time. These are also called as compile time exceptions. These exceptions cannot simply be ignored. The programmer should take care of, handle, these exceptions. You can see in the example we have got the fill not found exception. It must be caught. Check out the below note. Second one is unchecked exceptions. An unchecked exception is an exception that occurs at the time of execution. These are also called as runtime exceptions. These include programming bugs, such as logic errors or improper use of an API. Runtime exceptions are ignored at the time of compilation. For example, if you have declared an array of size 5 in your program, and trying to call the sixth element of the array, then an array index out of bounds exception occurs. You can see in the below example we have got the array index out of bounds exception. What is wrapper class in Java? The wrapper class in Java provides the mechanism to convert primitive into object and object into primitive. Since J2SE 5.0, autoboxing and unboxing feature convert primitives into objects and objects into primitives automatically. The automatic conversion of primitive into an object is known as autoboxing and vice versa unboxing. Let's see use of wrapper classes in Java. Change the value in method. Java supports only call by value. so, if we pass a primitive value, it will not change the original value. But, if we convert the primitive value in an object, it will change the original value. Serialization. We need to convert the objects into streams to perform the serialization. If we have a primitive value, we can convert it in objects through the wrapper classes. Synchronization. Java synchronization works with objects in multithreading. Java.util package. The Java.util package provides the utility classes to deal with objects. Collection framework. Java collection framework works with objects only. All classes of the collection framework, ArrayList, linked list, vector, hash set, linked hash set, tree set, priority queue, arrayDict, etc., deal with objects only. Let's see example. We have declared int variable, and we have to convert it to integer explicitly using wrapper class. This all about the wrapper class. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel.